So this is a family show, and I don't want to say.
This is not a family show.
You.
There's nothing family show about this.
I want you to Google it and then live.
I don't want to Google it.
Don't image search it. Just
Oh, God.
text search it. I'm not going to say. Jason Corbett was an Irish man who married an American woman named Molly, who apparently just wanted to steal his children. Molly and her father allegedly murdered Jason, and this is a very tragic and dark story, but I'm also realizing as I say this that maybe this is what Dee thinks happens to Irish people in America, and I guess that's kind of true sometimes, but not most of the time, and all in all, this is just not a good look for us Americans.
We're previewing the Jason Corbett case from Crime World.
That's on this episode of So Much Crime.
So little time.
Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dee, and in this episode, we'll introduce you to the Jason Corbett case from Crime World with Nicola Tallant.
If you don't know anything about the Jason Corbett case, that is great. This is one of our preview episodes.
Here we only discuss the first episode of this collection and introduce the story. No spoilers for what's to come. I mean, it's mainly spoilers for the entire case, but, you know.
We'll put a link to Crime World in our show notes.
In our next episode, we'll discuss the whole collection, but right now we just want to decide if this is a crime that's worth your time.
All right, Dee, before we get to this very dark, very tragic story, let's do something a little lighter. Get ourselves in the place and the time. Let's hop in the time machine.
Doo-doo-doo. All right, Jeff, you go first.
All right, so this crime happened on August 2nd, 2015 in Wallburg, North Carolina. Dee?
Wait a second, Jeff.
What?
Recently, we covered this time and this year.
We sure did. Yeah, on Cracks in the Fandom, the Mariska Hargitay one. That was also August 2015, but that was Ohio. Do you know where Ohio is relative to North Carolina?
No.
So you haven't been to North Carolina?
No.
Okay.
I know someone who lives in South Carolina. Does that count?
Sort of. I mean, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, I heard that. One's like lower than the other. The other one is higher than the other one.
That is true. All right, I have a restaurant review for you. Actually, I have a restaurant review game for you, and I want to warn people this is going to get a little unpleasant. And then,
oh my God, I'm so excited for the unpleasantness. Go on.
all right, let's jump right in. Okay, so I looked up Wallburg, North Carolina. I've never been there, and I've been to North Carolina, but not Wallburg.
What have you done in North Carolina that you were there, just out of interest?
I've driven through several times. If you're going from the north, like anywhere, like if you're going to Florida, which is where I was going, or Georgia, you drive through North Carolina. It's a big state. You can't miss it if you're taking 95 down. I've also been to the Charlotte airport a bunch of times, making connections. I've done a marathon in South Carolina, not North Carolina. I have looked at one in North Carolina. I have a marathoning friend who lives in North Carolina who is always talking up races in North Carolina, but okay. Is that what you wanted? Anyway, I looked up restaurants.
Is that what you wanted? No, I just wanted to know. Like, you said you were there, but you weren't really there.
I've driven through it several times, and I've been to the Charlotte airport several times. Airport doesn't really count.
No, driving through it barely counts.
You're there for a long time. It's a big state. It's beautiful too. Anyway, Wallburg Diner seemed like
Is that what you wanted?
Wallburg Diner seemed like one of the highest rated and iconic places in Wallburg. Looks like a very typical local diner. Has great reviews, 4.6 on Google out of 705 reviews.
Oh, that's
but
a lot.
I wanted to play a little game.
A gross game.
I have 3 reviews, 3 very short reviews. They're all 1-star reviews. And again, this restaurant is I want to be clear, very highly rated restaurant. I picked 3 of the worst reviews. Here's the game. 2-parter. I'm going to read all 3 reviews, and then I'm going to ask you 2 things. First off, which one wins? Which one's the best of the bad reviews? Second question, one of these reviewers has written only 3 reviews lifetime. The other 2 have written a ton, like 50 to well over 100. Identify the newbie reviewer.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
First one. This is from 7 years ago from someone named Kathy. Food was awful. Ask for fried liver pudding. They deep fried it and it
Sorry.
tastes...
I need to pause.
What is fried liver pudding?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. I looked this up. What do you think it is?
A fried liver, but like sweet.
No, it's not. It's not sweet. It's savory. This threw me because a pudding in America usually means like a chocolate pudding, like a dessert. But this is more of the like British pudding of like
Oh.
like a loaf of sorts. Well, sort of. It's so it is made from liver.
British. Okay.
Most comparable to is also, this is a regional thing. This is like a North Carolina regional food, breakfast food. It's made from pork liver, sometimes other bits of
Oh yeah.
pork, and cornmeal and spices that they make into like a loaf, and then they slice it and then they fry it. Almost like
You say
Spam.
a loaf. You say a loaf, but it's like a sausage. It's not like a loaf.
Well, it's different than a sausage because like a sausage is either going to be
No, but
like,
in shape.
well, no, it's like
I know
a brick.
what- I
It's
know
brick
what-
shaped, square, like rectangular shaped. So the other regional thing that's very similar is scrapple, which they have in the Philadelphia area, which is one of my wife's favorite regional foods that you can't get.
Scrapple.
Scrapple, also made from liver and I think cornmeal and seasonings, but like undesirable quote parts of the pig. And then you fry it so it's crispy on the outside and mushy on the inside. Kind of like a breakfast sausage patty would be, but a breakfast sausage patty is I think going to be a lot fattier. It looks delicious. What do you think? You're making a face that makes you think it's not appetizing.
See, I don't know. I think the way you're the way you're describing it, it's not appetizing, but like pate is delicious. And if someone described it to me, it wouldn't be appetizing. And pudding, as I know it, that I'd have with a fry up in the morning in Ireland is delicious. But if someone described it, it wouldn't be appetizing. So I think my face is just relating
It's just
in
how your face
response
is.
to your description.
Okay. Well,
It's not just how my face is.
it looks delicious to me. I've never had it, but I have had scrapple and I love scrapple. It's very good. Anyway, all right, back to the review. Food was awful. Asked for fried liver pudding. They deep fried it and it tasted like old grease. Would not ever recommend eating there. There's no punctuation in that whole thing. Okay, that's A. B. This is from 4 years ago. From Mark. Nasty, nasty death food.
Jeepers.
Period. If you like being fat and unhealthy and pay for the same canned foods you buy at the grocery store, then eat your heart out. My fried squash looked like chicken nuggets. That's B.
What would fried squash look like?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't
And
know.
also, if you're ordering fried squash, like, are you trying to be healthy?
Also, chicken nuggets look great. I like chicken nuggets. We all like chicken nuggets, don't we?
Yeah.
If something
No
shows
problem.
up and it looks like chicken
Yeah, but I
nuggets.
suppose if your go-to is fried squash, maybe you're not a chicken nugget fan.
Also, we're skipping past nasty, nasty death food, which
nasty death food is kind of hilarious. I
Yeah.
feel like, I don't know, someone should call their restaurant nasty death food.
all right, so that's B. And then C, which is from 2 years ago from someone named Omega. Got the eggs, hash browns, and bacon. Pretty sure the cook in the back, who goes by the name Josh, shot ropes all over my meal. Overall mediocre, 1 out of 5 stars
What?
for me.
Hold on. What does shot ropes mean?
So this is a family show, and I don't want to say.
This
You
is
can-
not a family show.
You,
There's nothing family show about this.
I want you to Google it and then live.
I don't want to Google it.
Don't image search it. Just
Oh God.
text search it. I'm not gonna say.
Is it that bad? Because I've three things that have come to mind.
Let me add this. There's one more line under kid friendliness.
Well,
There it is. Okay. So there's sections in the review, right? There's the main part of your review, and then you can say like what type of service you had, what meal type, was it breakfast, lunch, dinner, what was the price, and then kid friendliness is a category. And under kid friendliness, Omega wrote, had my kid with me, also had Josh's ropes on his biscuits and gravy. Yep. I warned you.
What? So that review is. I need to know. Just removing that part. Tell me the rest of the review. Yeah.
Got the eggs, hash browns, and bacon. Pretty sure the cook in the back goes by the name Josh.
Yeah.
Overall, mediocre. 1 out of 5 stars for me.
Hold on. Overall, mediocre and 1 out of 5. First of all, that makes no sense, right? Because mediocre is middle of the road.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, how can you call something mediocre if you can also describe it like that?
I have never seen anything like that in a Google review or a TripAdvisor review. Really, any review I've ever read. That's the most disgusting thing I've seen in a review in all the time we've been doing this. We've been doing this for a long time now. And I've read a lot.
How do they know the cook's name?
That's an interesting detail. Yeah. Who goes by the name Josh. That may not be his actual name.
I mean, I feel like maybe that is like this feels pointed. Like this feels like that has to be made up.
Yeah. Okay. So those are the 3 reviews.
Did you search the other reviews to see if there was anything along that line by anyone else?
No.
And Josh never responded?
No, I do have... Well, I want you to do the game first, and then I do have a short little additional bit.
Okay, so that last one is 100% the one that only has 3 reviews.
That is correct.
Yes.
You are very good. On that point, though, I looked up the 2 other reviews that Omega has written. And what's interesting to me is one of them is for an ATM. 5-star review.
I don't know how was there like a written review? Like it gave me money. I don't know.
So this is what's weird. Maybe ATM means something different in North Carolina than in the rest of the country, but it's a 5-star review from 3 years ago. It's in High Point, North Carolina, and the review is best cheerwine slushies in town. Sometimes they have buffalo chicken pizza in the first quarter of the year. I don't understand. But then the other one is the one I want to share. So of their 3 reviews, so it was the one I shared first, the ATM, and then a McDonald's in Jamaica, New York. So they traveled, or they're from New York. I don't know. And this one's from 8 years ago, and it's all it says is a 1-star review. Bathroom smelt, S-M-E-L-T. Bathroom smelt like poopy when no one was even in there.
I mean, that seems so tame in comparison to the other one. I
Well,
also really enjoy it's when no one else was in there. So it's like not someone wasn't in the middle of it, like, but after they left, it still smelled like that. I'm like, yeah, that's how it works.
What's amazing is that McDonald's review was 8 years ago. So that was their first review. So they decided to go onto Google and leave their very first review of this McDonald's bathroom smell. And then a few years later, so 5 years after that, they reviewed this ATM, which maybe is a restaurant. And then a full year goes by and they do this diner review. Okay. So you correctly picked the new reviewer, the newbie. Which is your favorite though?
I think
it's not Omega because
no, that I didn't like that at all. That made me feel ill.
So Kathy was the first one. That's the one who asked for the fried liver pudding, and they deep fried it. It tastes like old grease. And then Mark.
Oh, I think it's going to be nasty, nasty death food.
That's Mark. Yeah, nasty, nasty death food. If you like being fat and unhealthy and pay for the same canned foods you buy at the grocery store, then eat your heart out.
I don't like the rest of the review, but I'm purely saying it's the best because it says nasty, nasty death food.
Yeah, I think Mark wins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you anything else, or is that it?
That's it.
Okay. I'm going with a theme.
Okay.
Given we've already covered this time very recently. This story, it's very hard. There's a lot of themes going on in it. It's very hard to pull out anything for this segment, which is supposed to be a little bit more lighthearted. So the theme I went with is kind of Mary Poppins-esque. It's like a nanny theme because, as we know, Molly starts off as a nanny. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
4 questions for you. Okay, it's all about nanny situations that are a bit bonkers. All right, multiple choice questions.
Okay.
In 2017, a wealthy family in Scotland posted a job listing for a live-in nanny, offering a pretty massive salary for that location.
Okay.
There was a reason why the salary was pretty high. I'm going to give you 3 options. The first was the nanny had to double as a bodyguard for the child in question because the family were so wealthy. So that was option 1. Option 2 is the house was officially haunted and had driven away many other nannies.
Okay.
And the third option here is the nanny was actually going to have to mind prize-winning show dogs that were worth a lot of money.
These are all believable. Where did this take place? England?
Scotland. Yeah. 2017.
I want it to be the haunted house, but I don't think that's true.
Why don't you think that's true?
Well, Scotland's probably haunted.
Just in general.
Is that the right
Scots,
answer?
they're all haunted. It is actually the right answer. Apparently, the house had driven away 5 previous nannies.
Because of the ghosts?
The parents admitted they had lost 5 nannies in a single year due to supernatural incidences, including moving furniture and shattering glass.
Wait, seriously? Do you know how much they were offering?
Yeah. Why would you live there?
Depends how much they're offering.
Well, you see, it's not going to sound like much for here, I think, but in dollars, it's $64,000.
And plus room and board, like you live there?
Yeah.
So $64,000, but you get free room and board, and you just have to put up with some ghosts.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Not like where you're at right now in your life, but like if you were of...
Absolutely not at any point in my life. And were you going to say if I was younger? Because, look...
No.
That's a bit harsh.
No,
my son told me I was nearly 50 today, and I was like, I'm not. And he's like, well, it's not that far away. It's like, it's so far away.
You're closer to 50 than you are to his age.
I mean, I'm closer to 40 than I am to 50.
Anyway. All right.
Would you do it?
I don't think I'd be a very good nanny. But... So wait, how many?
Good with the ghosts?
Like 4 or 5 people had been scared away because of ghosts?
5.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's too many. If it was like 1 or 2, yeah, but like 5, that place is haunted.
Okay, next one. A family in New York hired a lovely older woman whose decades of experience claimed that she was a grandmotherly figure. And she would be a grandmotherly figure to the children. After a few weeks, they realized she wasn't doing much cleaning or cooking. She was keeping a secret.
She was a
What
ghost.
was the grandma nanny's actual secret? Okay.
She'd been dead all the time.
She was a wealthy socialite looking for a free place to stay during renovations.
Okay.
B, she was actually a private investigator hired by someone who was looking into the family. Or C, she was a method actress preparing for a Broadway role.
Okay, so if she was a PI, then she's not a very good PI because you got to maintain the illusion. So it can't be B.
Okay.
So A was she's a socialite just looking for a place to stay, and C was she was a method actress. Those are both good choices. If she's a method actress, though, she's also not very good method actress. I'm going to go with A, socialite.
She was a socialite looking for a free place to stay.
Wow.
She wanted a high-end place to stay while her own apartment was being renovated.
That's ridiculous.
I know.
Wow.
Okay, I have 2 more. The next one is about a nanny in the UK. She was taken on by a family, and the family highly praised her. Apparently she was incredibly good. She was quiet and never really bothered the parents. However, then the family realised something about her. They realised why she was such low maintenance. Was it A, she was actually a professional mime? B, she spent 10 hours a day napping with the baby that she was minding in a soundproof shed that she was living in. Or C, she had secretly moved her boyfriend into her room.
Well, so B was the longest answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with B.
She had secretly moved her boyfriend into her room for 6 months. Without asking, she'd moved her boyfriend into her small live-in quarters, and he had been living there unseen for 6 months by hiding in the wardrobe whenever the parents knocked.
Wow. That's wild.
Okay. And this is the last one.
Okay.
Close to home.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
A viral job posting for a nanny in Menlo Park, California,
Been there.
went viral for its bizarre list of requirements. Which of these was not a real requirement in this viral Silicon Valley nanny posting? A. A valid pilot's license. B. The ability to speak fluent Mandarin. Or C. Being a high-level competitive athlete.
Wait, 2 of those are real, one's not?
Yeah.
It's not the Mandarin one because I feel like that is definitely a requirement in a lot of places around the Bay Area. I'm going to say... This is hard. I'm gonna say C.
Incorrect. It was the valid pilot's license. That was not on the list. But I will tell you, these parents weren't just looking for childcare. They required the nanny to have a degree in child psychology, to be a competitive athlete, and be able to fluently speak Mandarin while managing a household staff of 4.
Why a competitive athlete?
I don't know.
Also, I guess Mary Poppins could fly. So
Yes.
So she had a pilot's license.
As in if that's what they were trying to go for?
Sure. Yeah. These are pretty good. These were amazing. All right. That was our time machine. August 2015. Nannies and diners in North Carolina.
If you were like Umega and you're spending 3 or 4 years planning your next Google review, while you're planning, why not go to patreon.com/so much crime, so little time? Because there you could get really good ideas. We cover lots of reviews in our extended time machine. Or maybe you could fill your time with something that will fill your heart with joy by giving back to Jeff and I and the team here at So Much Crime, So Little Time, and also making you laugh so much that you forget about all of the poopy smells in the bathroom at McDonald's. That's patreon.com/so much crime, so little time. Thanks so much for your continued support. I've forgotten what it meant and I never want to hear it again.
All right, Dee, let us talk about this Jason Corbett case. And we're doing something a little bit different this time. So we're not covering a normal series on this case. Instead, we are covering several episodes from the ongoing podcast called Crime World with Nicola Tallant. We're starting off today in this episode talking about episode 9 of the overall series, which came out on January 10th, 2021. So Crime World covered this Jason Corbett case as it was sort of developing over the last 5 or 6 years. And so we'll next time be talking about sort of a series of like one-off or like two-parters that we'll link to all of them in our show notes so you can follow along. But for this episode, we're just talking about a single episode, which was episode 9 from January 10th of 2021. But Dee, what happened in this episode?
Okay, so this is a lot. So as Jeff said, like this is kind of a synopsis of what went on and the outcome of that first trial. So Jason Corbett was an Irishman from Limerick. His first wife died, leaving him with 2 small children. He hired Molly Martens, who was from North Carolina, as a nanny. They got married and moved to North Carolina very soon after. In 2015, Jason was violently murdered in his home. Molly and her father Tom were convicted of the murder, but that wasn't the end of the story. That's like so high level, Jeff. There is so many little components to this that are heartbreaking. So I'd love to start off with a question for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
I felt like this preview was short, but it covered where we are now, along with some of the key points of the case. I found it really easy to follow, but I also know that I came into this with a lot of knowledge about the case. I've read about it. I've watched the Netflix series. I remember it happening at the time. I remember listening to it on the radio in my parents' house. I'm wondering, how was this episode for you? Do you feel like you know the main points of the case? Was it easy to follow as someone very new to the story?
Yeah, so I knew nothing about this case. I'd never heard of it. And yeah, I think this covered it really well. So just to be clear, this episode came out after, I guess, the first trial. I don't know. It was at the time this episode came out.
It was after the first trial, after Molly and Tom were convicted, and they appealed it. And they were in the middle of appealing. Yeah.
It was pending an appeal to the North Carolina Supreme Court at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if all you know is what happened in this podcast, which is from 5 years ago, that's where we left it. So the crime happened in 2015, went through a whole trial. They got convicted. They got sentenced to 20, 25 years or something in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And then they immediately turned around, as people do, and appealed it. And we hear about some of the reasons for that appeal and some of the problems with the trial in this episode. Yeah, I thought this covered in 40 minutes, 35 minutes? I don't know how long it was. An awful lot of ground. I think I feel like I know a lot about the story. I am curious to flip that question around on you a little bit, but specifically, I have multiple questions here, but one is, I guess, do you feel like this did the story introduction justice?
Again, yeah, no, I felt like it did. It didn't cover everything that I would know about the story. It couldn't cover everything. But for me, it did. It touched all the key points. I think it told it in a way that was fairly unbiased, but I do feel like that there was this thread of the little Irishman, and he's a countryman, and this blonde American athlete comes over and is actually evil and manipulative and stuff. I did feel like they leaned a little bit into the Irish, being kind of biased to the Irish side. Now, I think that's easy to do given the facts of the case.
Sure.
But it felt sometimes like they were saying the American. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I don't know if that came across to you.
It did. I mean, so I was curious about that because I feel like if all you know is what we heard here, which is, so it's Nicola Tallant, who we heard before in His Own Words. Was that the one she was in?
Yeah.
And then Ralph Riegel, who is an Irish independent journalist.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they've picked sides here.
Yeah. Now, I think if you learn more and more about the case, this case doesn't have gray area.
It doesn't. Well, from what I heard here, I don't understand how you could not believe what's the story that's told here, which is basically that Jason is purely a victim here. The kids are victims here, and Molly and her father committed a just horrific, brutal murder. And then I think the part that maybe jumped out at me was how anyone ever entertained the idea of their initial story that there was some type of self-defense thing here, because all of the facts that were given here, that seems wild and outlandish. Is there more to that I don't know?
Well, I mean, I think more stuff comes out as you look at things in more detail. There was a story spun. So, why was there a brick on your bedside table? Oh, me and the kids were going to paint the brick. We were going to do rock painting. That was one of the stories. Recordings had been left around the house, recording devices. I think they alluded to this in this episode.
Yeah, that she was recording him.
And they caught some things on the recordings that showed his kind of aggression, maybe frustration in different arguments. He didn't come across particularly perfect when you heard those recordings. And then
he comes across perfect here. We don't hear a bad word about him.
But I don't even know if the recordings were released for this first one. I can't remember. And then the kids originally stated that she, you know, that he was mean, that they had, I think the son said that he had seen his dad like maybe hit Molly potentially. But what it came out after that the kids had been coerced by her. Like, if you don't say this, you'll be taken away from me and you'll be put somewhere you don't even know, and this kind of thing. You have to remember these kids were so young, and their birth mother had passed away really tragically. She had an asthma attack, a really serious asthma attack.
Before they, I mean, they didn't really have no memories of her because they were under 2.
No,
I think.
No. And then they're taken away from all their family in Ireland and brought over to North Carolina.
And also, Molly, was with them when they gave that statement, and they were sent home with her initially, and then they gave a different statement when they got back to Ireland. I think they were with Jason's sister. I think that's what we heard. And I do not understand in what scenario you send these kids home with this woman who must have been a suspect in this murder. Was she not from the start?
I think she was, like, from fairly early on. I mean, there was no doubt that they had killed him.
Right. I mean, they had blood all over him. I don't think they denied that. They just said it was self-defense.
And I know they talk about it in this episode, like, about the gruesome scene. Like, I've seen some of the photos and stuff. Like, it's really gruesome. And it's weird. So Tom Martens and his wife were in the basement, like in a room in the basement. And the wife was like up, I don't know, working or reading. And she claims to never have heard anything.
I was wanting to ask you about that. Where was she?
Until, like, the paramedics and stuff arrived. But he ran up because he apparently heard her screaming. Because Jason was attacking Molly.
Okay. There are some things alluded to here that we don't really get a lot of detail on. Like that moment of where the parents show up very last minute, that Jason is apparently like packing his bags, ready to go. Like he's had enough. He wants to take the kids back to Ireland.
Yeah.
And then the parents show up. They go to, well, side note on a lighter topic, they make reference to that they had been to a cornhole party and that is a thing in the States.
Is it a thing?
Have you been to many cornhole parties since you've been in the States?
No, I mean, I've only seen cornhole really at work parties, or like, I don't know, if you go to like the Earthquakes family day, they'll usually have like cornhole that people can play.
Is that cornhole is not a thing in Ireland?
No.
It's just tossing a beanbag towards a board with a hole in it.
What is there such thing as a cornhole party though? Like, is that a thing?
Never heard of that before. I've been to a lot of parties with cornhole. It's definitely a popular American like backyard party game.
I was more thinking, was it like a neighborhood, like a street party?
Maybe if it's a North Carolina regional thing. I'd never heard of that. I thought that was funny. But anyway, yeah. So that night they go to this party. He is ready to leave for all we know because he's had enough. She's been gaslighting him. She's been trying to get custody of these kids from the start.
That's so wild, isn't it? When they got married and then like only a few days later she goes to a divorce attorney purely to ask about the kids.
Well, I don't understand that. So she goes, okay, so they get married. He doesn't immediately like, okay, so you have a choice then. She has to basically adopt the kids, or how does that work?
Yeah.
So sometimes when that happens, when someone has kids, they come into a marriage, the other person can adopt the kids. Yeah. Or what? Like he has. But
I think you wouldn't adopt the kids if the other parent was around. It's only because the parent isn't around. It's not like, you know, if you had a step parent, you wouldn't get adopted by them necessarily if your dad or your mom was still in your life.
But she's trying to get custody of these kids and he is not letting her.
No.
For reasons unclear.
Well, it seems they rushed the whole marriage. Like, I'd imagine the reason that she was like, I'm homesick, I want to go home. And he was like, well, I can't go with you. And she's like, well, if we get married, you can.
To North Carolina.
For a visa. Mm.
Okay, because there's other bits here, I guess, backing up a little bit. So, all right, so his wife dies. Asthma attack, tragic. He's got 2 small kids. He's got a good job. He can afford to bring in help. He brings in a series of like au pairs, but he wants something longer term. He finds Molly. And then we kind of jump to they're getting married. which
Yeah.
isn't how all nanny situations work out.
No, and I've definitely heard a little bit more about like some of the build up, but I do from my memory, it was all pretty quick.
And I don't know respective ages here. Like it doesn't really matter, but I mean, we're told that she was like trolling nanny sites looking for kids.
Yeah.
As though that was the solution to her mental health challenges.
Yeah. So he was 39 when he died.
And how old was she?
So Molly Martens was born in 1983.
Oh, so she was 32 when he died.
Mm.
Oh, so she wasn't that much younger than him.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I guess, okay, the more we talk about it, the more I realize they covered a lot of ground in this episode, but there were a lot of blanks that weren't filled in. Because like they talked about her mental health struggles, and they referred to her as having severe depression, and they talked about some of the elements that they also talked about how she had this tendency to like one-up stories. Like they gave that example of the friend with a skydiving story, and she's like, oh, I did something like more crazy or whatever. And I mean, we don't have really specifics on what exactly was going on with her.
There's a weird story that comes out at another stage that I've heard about, which is at their wedding, one of her like high school friends, she might have been a bridesmaid, I think she was a bridesmaid, said to one of Jason's very good friends, or maybe even his sister, God, it's so nice, you know, that Molly knew, what was his first wife's name? Mags. That Molly knew Mags, you know, as a teenager, and that obviously she went over to help you, and then you guys found each other. It's like Mags wanted you kind of to be together. And they were like, that's not true. And
That's
she was like,
true.
what? Like, no, Molly told us, like, that's why she went over.
Hmm.
That was like the night of the wedding, or maybe the night before.
It is interesting. Like they say how we all kind of know people like this, and I definitely know people like this who do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The wedding, so Molly and Jason's wedding, which they allude to taking place at a plantation house. Or they call it a Confederate mansion, I think, but it's one of those plantation house weddings, which I know is a thing and a lot of people do, but also feels gross. Like have you been to like parts of the Deep South, like Confederate states? Okay, plantation states. So I have, and it has obviously a bad connotation, but it is also true that like I remember driving around Tennessee once and noticing like, oh, these are just like, these houses stand out as like these grand, historic, large homes on big pieces of property, and there isn't an equivalent. Like I haven't lived in a Confederate state, so like our state that had plantations, so like I don't know what it's like. Like yeah, like you look for a place to have a wedding, and it does make sense that you'd want to have it in a place like this. But also,
like, are you taking a second to read about the history before you're?
Yeah, like what happened on this property? Bad things happen on this property, and maybe we should just tear it down. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I have other questions. So wait, you said you've watched. So you heard about this when this happened. You've watched there's a series, like a fictionalized series, or like a documentary series.
No, a documentary series.
And so this originally happened
one of the episodes in the collection we're going to listen to speaks about it a little bit, and I think it breaks down some of like the maybe inconsistencies in the Netflix series. I think that's the other thing about a story like this that caught so many people's attention, has a Netflix series. I'm sure there's a lot of BS out there. I also know his daughter, Jason's daughter, Sarah, has written a book.
Okay, so you had all this in your head, and you still came to America.
Yes, because I was not marrying an American woman from North Carolina.
That's fair. But like, how about, I guess, what's the sort of mood around this in Ireland, or was at the time? Like, what's the takeaway, I guess?
I think a lot of people were shocked about the justice system. A lot of people were shocked about the father having worked for the FBI and being clearly so involved. It was just so much drama, you know, even just in reading the synopsis of like what happened in this story, like the high level details. This is so like, this feels like something you would watch on a fictionalized series.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And even with his first wife, Mags, having died so tragically, and the wife comes in and she's or the nanny comes in and she's beautiful, and they fall in love, and then they move to America, and they've this big house, and the dad used to work for an FBI or the FBI. Like, that's all like textbook. We've watched this show play out. Do you know? And I think when he was from somewhere like in Limerick, like he's obviously, there was no, it didn't seem like the family or anything of any like airs and graces. It's just very normal Irish family. And I don't know. I think that's what caught everyone, is because there was just so much to it, so many layers to it, that it was just so shocking.
Because the question I was going to ask is around the first wife, because there was I guess a allusion to like suspicion that it wasn't just as like she died suddenly of an asthma attack.
Yeah, her sister was there.
Yes.
Yeah,
it seems straightforward, and obviously,
and Tom like was caught out in a lie, obviously, like saying, you know, that Mags's dad had alluded to Jason being involved. Right. That was all bullshit. And the thing, I think, what came out and what will probably come out over the next few episodes as well, is like so many tales that were kind of laid. Like, this wasn't but this wasn't domestic violence that Molly and her dad fought back. Because there was so much manipulation and so many things were put into place leading up to it. It's spoken about in the book club. She set up a book club, and the two books that she recommended within the first year were Gone Girl and The
Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yeah, and apparently she would say like, oh, he gets very angry and he blah blah blah.
No, it seems like she's
in that voice.
Yeah.
I'm not dismissing that, but in the grand scheme of all of this, that was part of the scheme. Can I ask you about Nicola Tallant? Because we really liked her in
his own words.
In his own words, did you think she did a good job given this story? Because it was a very different format.
It was. So in this episode, she's not the reporter. She's not like here as the expert. She's here as sort of the person kind of reacting to Ralph Riegel, who is the one who's the expert, who's written a ton about this and researched it. Yeah, we've talked about this before. This is not my favorite format of a podcast, where you've got expert and person reacting to expert. I like it more when there's two people on more equal footing, but I do like her. Like, she seems solid. I thought she did a good job of kind of questioning things, but it also, I think what happens here, like we talked about before, is it leans into those biases, and it sort of amplifies some of those things.
Yeah, and I will say, I think that was my one like criticism of it. But I take it, when I say it's a criticism if I was listening to this as a series. And we're not. This is a one-off episode, so we kind of have to get our heads out of that. But if it was a series, I would be saying, okay, we need to probe a bit. We need to say, okay, well, when she said that, how do we know these things are true? And I did like Ralph said, the story about the book club. He's like 100% true. I don't know. I feel like I'd expect more to probe from the book club one. He did say, this has been fully corroborated. And what I took from that actually was interesting because of the story about at the wedding, when apparently one of the bridesmaids that I spoke about earlier. That's what I was kind of saying. Like, you don't know of all the stories that you hear, which ones are actually true and which ones are just rumors gone wrong. So I don't know. I thought maybe... I was going to ask you this. I thought maybe the way they were talking about Molly's mental health struggles was, I don't know if I would say insensitive. I don't know. It felt weird how it was presented, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
A little.
I agree.
It felt a little bit like, if this, then she couldn't be near kids, and she couldn't be... you couldn't be one and the other. And that felt a little bit too, I don't know if insensitive is the word, or like, I think there's more like nuance. There's more complexity to a story than that. And I think they went on a kind of simplified version of, she obviously needed help. And look, she beat him to death. She obviously did. But while they were talking about it, there was just this, I don't know, lack of sensitivity maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking about two other ones we've listened to that have similar plots. So, Bad Thing, which was told very differently, and then Scamanda, which has some of the same plot elements. And I think Scamanda, well, they were presented very differently from this, and so I think it's hard to maybe do like a true like comparison of them. I do think compared to those.
Well, I think though, when you're talking about Scamanda, like it's obviously horrendous how many people she scammed, but like she didn't brutally kill someone with a brick and try and steal his kids.
Right.
And that's what I was saying earlier. I think there was like an Irish protectivism that was kind of clear in this podcast. That was like, we're not going to be sound to her, even though she was struggling with her mental health, because she beat an Irish man to death.
And look, as an American, if the story was reversed and an American man married an Irish woman and went to Limerick, and that Irish woman did this, I am sure the American version of this podcast would not be particularly kind.
Tenor bets she'd be an alcoholic. And they'd use diddly eye music in their podcast.
Sure. But no, I mean, maybe Bad Thing is a better comparison, because I think the crime is somewhat similar. I mean, in that one, the wife murdered two people. Well, herself and the woman her husband was having an affair with. I don't know. This is a lot. I think part of what I'm curious to listen to, we've never done anything quite like this. So I want to be clear. We said this at the beginning, but so the episode we listened to kind of covered the story start to finish, but in a very short way. We're going to listen to a bunch more episodes that cover both what happened after the trial, like through the appeal process and all of that, and what's happened over the last 5 years in this case, as well as kind of diving deeper into the details, right? Because it's a mix of things. I don't know. This is going to be a very different recap that we do, and I think it's a fascinating story, and I'm really actually curious what people listening think of this. Like, I'm sure there's people, I guess maybe are Irish fans, but maybe also I feel like this is a big true crime story, and I just like I'm sort of blind to it. Is that true?
Yeah.
It's not just an Irish thing.
No.
Yeah, I'm curious because I guess if people have watched the Netflix series, what people think. Yeah, I don't know. It's a gruesome, sad story, but it's it's interesting.
Please do let us know. Leave a comment. Tell us your thoughts. Have you listened to the first of our collection of episodes? Let us know your thoughts on this and the case in general. And while you're at it, throw 5 stars on the review there. It makes it really so much easier for people to find us who are new to us, and keep spreading the word. Thank you so much for all your help and support, and we can't wait to dive deeper into the case next time.
Next time, we're going to go further into the Jason Corbett case and what has happened over the last few years.
We'll cover what came next for Molly and her father, as well as Jason's kids.
We're discussing more from Nicola Tallant and Crime World.
That's on the next So Much Crime,
So Little Time.
So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of MimeGov Media. The executive producer is Paxton Calariso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show in your podcast app. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening. I've forgotten what it meant, and I never want to hear it again.